start today in our comfortable seated position. And just kind of move around a little bit, see how we're feeling. And then take a big deep breath in through our nose. And then exhale. Find our stillness. Feel our sitting bones rooting down into our mats. And just let go of any expectations that we may have of ourselves or of this practice. Remind ourselves that we will be working with this body that we have right at this moment. Maybe not yesterday's body, but what we have right now. And then we'll slowly open our eyes and lift our hands up to the sky, reaching, even bring those shoulders up. I know I always talk about getting them away from our ears, but just lifting nice and high. And then as we exhale, we'll lower those shoulders down. Feel the length in our neck. Open up the fingers. Good. And then exhaling, we'll turn to the right. Little twist here so we can place that left hand on our thigh. Right hand can go behind our spine. We lift as we inhale, lengthen in the spine. Exhale, we twist just a little bit. Good, and then inhale back up to the center, hands come up high. And then we'll go over to the other side, exhaling, placing the left hand on the ground, right hand can come to the thigh. Good, and then inhaling again up to the sky, and exhale to the right. Good, inhaling up, and exhale to the left, last time. Good, and then back up to the center, reaching high with the fingers, dropping the shoulders away, breathing into the belly so we're not doing a weird arch in the back. Lengthen, and then exhale, let's bring the hands back behind us. We can hold that big yoga ball if we would like, open up the chest, or we can clasp our hands together and pull them back. Open up the chest, get those shoulders in the front. And then gently we'll release, and then bring the hands around to the front, and then up again. And now just big circles. Exhale back. Inhale up. Exhale back. Good. Inhale. Bring those hands out in front of us. Good. And now we're just going to take this right arm and we're going to cross it over our body. The left hand can help, and we'll make sure we're dropping that right shoulder away. It wants to come up. Lower it down. Reach with the fingers. Good, and release. And now we're going to take the back of this right hand and touch it to our right hip, like a little sassy teapot right over here. And now, again, dropping that shoulder, we're going to take that left hand and just gently bring it forward. Bring the elbow forward, drop the shoulder. And release. And wiggle those fingers. Inhale all the way up high. Good. Exhale back. Open the chest as we go back. Good. Inhale again, up. And again, exhale, we go back. Good. Bringing those hands out in front of us, reaching nice and far, dropping the shoulders, and then we're just taking that left arm across the body and hold it with the right hand or with the forearm. A couple of big breaths here. Good, and releasing, and now we'll take that, the back of the hand to the same side hip, sassy teapot, and we'll take the right hand, touch the elbow, and then just slowly bring it forward, dropping the shoulder, opening up in that neck. Good, and releasing. Wiggle those fingers, inhale, hands come up high. And now exhale, let's fold forward, bringing the arms out in front of us. Sitting bones stay on the mat as we hinge forward. Using that exhale to relax in the hip, in the low back, in the shoulders. Good. Keeping our chest down low, let's walk our hands around over to the right. And then slowly, keeping that chest low, walking around to the left, bringing the chest all the way over that left leg, reaching the right arm across, wiggling those fingers out in front of us, and pressing that right sitting bone back down into the mat. And then back to the center. And then slowly we'll walk those hands back just a little bit. Keeping the hands on the floor though, but lifting the chest. Nice flat back here. We'll just do some cats and cows from here. So inhale, we'll just do a tiny cow, arch in the spine. Exhale, we'll round into a little cat. Inhale, we arch, lift the chest. Pull those shoulders back. And then exhale, we'll round. One more time. Inhale, arch. And then exhale, we round. And then we'll find that neutral spine again. And we'll walk those hands forward enough so that our butt lifts up off of the floor, coming onto our knees and our hands in a tabletop. Fingers are nice and wide underneath the shoulders. Knees are hip width apart. We'll tuck those toes because they've been a little bit lazy so far. And we're just going to press back, get the arches, get our Achilles tendon. Good. And then coming back forward toward tabletop, we'll soften the feet and press backwards again, coming all the way back onto our heels so we can lift the knees, stretch the tops of the ankles. Good. Lowering them back down, coming back to our tabletop, tucking the toes, pressing back, getting those feet flexed. And coming back, releasing the feet. And then we'll get the tops of the ankles one more time, lifting the knees. And lowering those babies back down, finding our tabletop. We'll tuck those toes, lift the hips into a downward facing dog, pedaling the feet, wagging in our tail. Good. And then pressing into those hands, pulling the shoulders away from our wrists, bending the knees, lengthening in the spine, pulling those shoulder blades back and down, well, up towards our bums. And then gently we begin to lengthen in those legs, bringing those heels toward our mats. If they don't get all the way down, it's totally fine. If we can't straighten our legs all the way, that's totally fine. We don't want to compromise the nice straight spine and strong shoulders that we just created. Good. And now let's inhale, bringing those shoulders forward, bending the knees, barely touching the ground, and then coming back to our downward facing dog. Inhaling forward, bringing those knees down, breathing into the tummy, keeping that back nice and flat, and then pressing back, downward facing dog. All right, let's do that one more time. Inhale, just barely touch the knees, and then press back, downward facing dog. Pressing into those fingers, pulling the shoulders away. Let's lift up onto our tippy toes. And then we'll swish those heels over to the right, keeping our hands and shoulders where they are. Our butt will kind of go off to the right, opening up that whole left side of our body. Good, and then inhale, let's come back up to those tippy toes. Lengthen in the spine, and then exhale, we'll lower the heels down over to the left, opening up that right side of our body. Good, and then inhale, back up to our tippy toes, bend the knees, and then find our downward facing dog again. Good, and then looking forward, we'll slowly walk our feet all the way up towards our hands. We can release the hands, release the head and the shoulders, and just hang in our forward fold. And stretch out our fingers and our wrists. Wake them up a little bit. Good, and then bending the knees, we'll round in the spine when we'll slowly roll our way up to standing. Slowly, slowly, our chin should be the last thing that lifts. Hands are to our sides, reaching down towards the ground, lifting from the top of the head, making ourselves nice and tall and strong as a mountain. Pick your favorite peak. Good, let's inhale, lift those hands up high. And then exhale, little back bend here. Inhale up. And then exhale, bending the knees, folding forward. Good. Inhale to a flat back into a half lift. So long legs, flat back. Hands can go to our shins or to the floor. Exhale, back down to our fold. And we'll step back with our left foot into our lunge. Take some time, wiggle in to our lunge. See how it's feeling today. Good, and then we'll step back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward into our plank. Plank can be on our toes. We can lower those knees. And then exhale, our chest will go forward, elbows will go back. We lower ourselves down to our tummies. Hands are still underneath of our shoulders, pressing very, very lightly into that floor, but mostly using our back muscles to slowly lift the chest into baby cobra. And exhale, we'll lower down. Tuck those toes, press into the ground, and come back to our downward facing dog. Good, let's lift up that right leg, stretch it back behind us. And then we'll step forward into our lunge. Good, stepping forward with the left into our fold. Inhale to a flat back, long legs. Exhale, we fold. And then inhale, we'll roll our way up. Exhale, hands come to our sides, find our peak. Inhale up. Exhale, this time bring those arms back behind, another chest expansion. Pull those shoulders back, lift the heart. Good, back up to the top. And then exhale, hinging at the hips, down to our fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold, and we'll step back with our right foot now into our lunge. Wiggle into that lunge. Settle in. Good, and now we'll step back into our downward facing dog. Inhale, let's come forward into our plank. Exhale, shoulders come forward, elbows go back as we lower ourselves down. Soften the feet, and then When we're ready, inhale up into our baby cobra. We think about using those back muscles to pull them back. And then exhale, we lower down, tuck the toes, press back, downward facing dog. Good, let's lift up that left leg. And we'll step forward. And then we'll step again into our fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold. And inhale all the way up to the top. Exhaling down to our Tadasana. Or Tadasana. Good. All right, let's pick it up a little bit. Inhale, let's bring those hands up high. Exhale, bringing those knees and thighs together, big circles with the arms as we sit down into our chair. Inhale, let's come on up, big circles with those arms, get those shoulders. Exhale, let's sit down into the chair again. Nice strong chair here, breathing into the belly. Our tummy should be moving toward those upper thighs. Hands go back behind us for Eddie the Eagle. And back up to the top. Good, inhaling up. And exhale, let's fold forward. Inhale to a flat back. Lengthen in that spine. Exhale, let's fold. And we'll step back with that left leg. Good. Left hand will stay on the floor. Right hand comes up to the sky. Opening up those shoulders. Pressing into this left hand. Opening, reaching with the right. Hand back down. Inhale to our high lunge. Good, let's open up warrior two. So dropping that right or that left heel back behind us to a right angle, bending the right knee, opening up these hips. Thighs should be moving in opposite directions. Our shoulders are still over the hips. Hands are reaching. Gaze goes right in front of those right fingers. Good, let's cartwheel those hands back down to our lunge and we'll step back, downward facing dog. Good, inhale forward to our plank. Exhale, we'll lower down. Inhale, we can do our baby cobra or we can come up to upward facing dog. We'll tuck those toes, lift the hips, press back, downward facing dog. Good. And now looking forward, we're going to bend the knees and we can step or we can hop up to our forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we'll fold. And now inhale all the way up high. Good. Exhale, sitting down into our chair. Make those circles with our arms really, really big. Get those shoulders a moving. Inhale, back up. And exhale down. Bring those arms back behind us, keeping everything else the same. We're just moving the arms. And back up. Good, inhaling high. And then exhale, let's fold forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold. And we'll step back with that right foot into our lunge. Right hand will stay on the floor. Left hand comes up for a little twist here. Opening that wingspan. Pressing the right heel back behind us, keeping that leg active. Sinking down into the lunge. And back down. Find our balance. And then coming on up to our high lunge. Let's drop that right heel. Open ourselves up for warrior two. Opening up the chest, lowering the shoulders away from our ears, reaching the fingers. Good. And cartwheeling those hands back down. We'll step back, downward facing dog. And flow through our vinyasa. So inhale forward. Exhale, we'll lower down. Inhale into our choice of back bend. We'll tuck those toes, lift the hips, back to our downward facing dog. Bending the knees, looking forward past our fingers, and then stepping or hopping to our forward fold. Good. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold. And slowly we rise up to the top. Hands are high. Good. Exhale, back to our Tadasana. Good. Now keeping our hips facing forward. Inhale, hands come up high. And then exhale, we're gonna make that little twist here. So our right hand goes back, left hand goes forward, but this right hip can't follow. It stays facing the front. And back up. And now exhale to the other side. So thinking of that left hip still facing forward. Good, and back up to the top. Exhale, let's bring those arms back behind us for a chest expansion. Pulling the shoulders back. Lifting the heart. Tucking that tail so that we're not crunching in the low back. Always have to remind ourselves of that. Good. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bend those elbows and try and hold onto our elbows, opposite elbows here. Pull the shoulders back, lift the heart. Should start to feel a nice long neck, open chest. And now bending the knees, we're going to begin to fold forward and lift those elbows up to the sky. Toward the sky. Good. Deeply bending the knees. Let's inhale, roll our way back up. Nice and slow. Good. Releasing the hands. And we'll bring them around and we'll give ourselves a hug. So now this time we're opening up behind us. Good. Releasing the hands, inhaling high. Good. Let's exhale down to our chair. Good. Inhaling up. And exhale, let's fold forward. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold. Hands find the floor and we'll step back with that left foot into our lunge. Good. Inhale to our high lunge. And then we'll open up warrior two. Good. Inhale. Let's do an extended reverse warrior. So lengthening the right leg, reaching that right hand. And then the left hand can kind of slide down that back leg. And then back to our warrior two. Good. Inhale. Extended reverse warrior. Back down to our warrior two. Good, and now let's go to our side angle. So right arm can come down to the thigh, but notice I'm not crunching down. It's just barely touching, opening up the ribs, and then lifting the left hand up to the sky, opening up the hips, sinking down into the lunge. And now from here, if we would like, we can try and do a little bind by taking this left hand, reaching back, see if we can find this right thigh. Or our back, a belt loop, something back there to help open up those shoulders a little bit. Good, and then we'll gently release that left hand and come back up, warrior two. Good, cartwheel the hands back down. Step back for our down dog. Good, let's lift that right leg up again. Nice and high for three-legged dog. And now we're gonna kick ourselves in the bum, open up the hips toward the right. And then bringing the knee in toward our chest, we're gonna kick the leg out to the left underneath of us. Good, back to our three-legged dog. And now from here we have a choice. We can place that foot back down, stay in three-legged dog and come to three-legged plank. Or like I said, we can put that foot back down. We can lower down. This is where both feet will come down to the floor. And then inhale to an upward facing dog. Because doing a three-legged upward facing dog is really, really hard. Good, tuck those toes, lift the hips, press back. Bending the knees, looking forward, stepping or jumping to our fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, we fold. Inhaling all the way up high. Good. And now let's bring those hands behind us again, chest expansion. Again, if we're here, that's great. Good. If we would like, we can try to grasp or clasp our hands together, pull the shoulders back, and begin to reach down toward our butt or toward the floor. Open up the chest. If this gets to be too much, we can always release. Good. And now from here, we'll release those hands. And again, give ourselves a little hug. Open up behind us and round a little bit. And use those fingers to help pull the shoulders down away from the neck. Good. Releasing, inhaling high. Exhale into our chair. Inhaling up. Exhale, let's fold forward. To a flat back. And then to our fold again, and we'll step back with that right foot. To our high lunge. Good, and then we'll drop the right heel, open ourselves up for warrior two. Sinking down, lengthening all along our midsection. Good, and now extended reverse warrior, straightening that left knee, reaching with the left hand. Good, and back down to our warrior two. Again, reaching nice and high, extending, opening up those ribs, and back to our warrior two. Good, and now side angle, so we can let that left arm rest on the thigh, opening up those ribs. Inhale, lift the right hand up to the sky. If we would like, we can try to bind from here, pulling that shoulder back, Reaching around, see if we can find the thigh or a belt loop. And then releasing the bind back to our warrior two. Good, cartwheeling the hands back down and stepping back, downward facing dog. Good, let's lift up that left leg again, three-legged dog. We'll kick ourselves in the bum, open up the hip to the left, and keeping our shoulders parallel to our mat. Good. Back to our three-legged dog. And then we'll bring the chest in, or the knee in toward our chest, and we'll kick that left leg out to the right. Again, keeping these shoulders parallel to the ground. Good. Stepping back, three-legged dog. We can lower the leg if we'd like, or we can come forward into a three-legged plank. Exhale, we'll lower down. Inhale to an upward facing dog or our cobra. Tucking the toes, lifting the butt. Downward facing dog. Good, and now let's bend those knees, bring the shoulders forward, just like we did earlier. Barely touch the knees, and then press back. Good, inhale, we'll come forward, knees will barely touch, and then we'll press back. Third time's a charm. Inhale forward, barely touch. And now we'll soften the feet and go into our child's pose. Let's open those knees nice and wide. Bring the toes together. Sit the hips back as far as we can toward those heels. Arms are out in front of us. We'll sink the chest low. Good, and now from here, let's creepy crawl those fingers out a little bit further. And then let's bring them together just a little bit so that they're straight out in front of our shoulders. And then we'll turn the palms up toward the sky. We should get a different sensation in our shoulders. If it's a bad one, come back to our regular child's pose. If we're happy here, we can stay here, or we can bring those hands together and then bring our thumbs back to the back of our necks, bending at the elbows. If we are doing the bent elbow option, we can walk those elbows forward just a little bit and then sink the butt back. A little bit more stretch in the piddle area. Good, and then let's release. You can even bend the elbows and bring them back. Bring those fingers back by our toes. Rest the shoulders a little bit. Good, and now let's bring those arms out in front of us again. We'll come forward into a little plank and then slowly lower ourselves down onto our tummies. So from here, we're all the way on our tummies. Our legs are out long back behind us, and our arms are in like a goal post. configuration here. We can rest our head down onto the mat. Take a breath or two here. And we're going to press into our mat with our left hand so that we can lift our chest up off of the floor. We're going to take that right arm and thread the needle through and then slowly sink down again. Good, and now let's press into that left hand again so that we can unwind, find our goalposts, take one breath here. And then other sides, we'll press the right hand into the ground. Thread through with the left, palm up, and then we'll sink back down. Let gravity help us out today. Good, and then we'll press into the right hand, unwind. Settle back into our goalposts for one full breath. Good, and then bringing those hands underneath of our shoulders, we'll press ourselves back to our child's pose. And we'll swish our feet over to one side. And we'll lower ourselves down onto our butts. Legs can come out in front of us. Good, and now let's make ourselves nice and wide with our legs. And what we're trying to think of is tilting that pelvis forward, so you need to scoot forward to kind of help with that. That's where we're going. Nice tall spine, flex the legs. Now I'm not trying to get as wide as I possibly can here and hurt myself, but I am pretty wide here. Good, and now we're gonna turn and face this left leg. Good, inhale, hands come up high. Good, and now the right arm is gonna go to the inside of the right leg. We're gonna lean over toward the right side. See, I tricked you. You thought we were going to fold forward toward the left leg, but we're not yet. Good. Opening up those shoulders, reaching with the left fingers up and over. Moving those left ribs to open up nice and wide toward the sky. One more breath here. And then on our next inhale, let's lift up high. Both hands come up. Still turn toward that left leg, and now we'll fold forward. Hands can come down to our leg and walk our way down, or we could just continue to reach forward toward those toes or the ankle. And then slowly we'll walk our way back up to the top and around to the center. Hands are in front of us, and we're just going to do tiny forward fold here to the center. Just a couple of breaths. And then we'll help ourselves back up to the top. Inhale, hands come up high, and we'll turn to that right leg. And then we'll lower over to the left. So the left elbow comes to the inside of that left knee. Right hand reaches up and over, opening up toward the sky. We should be able to peek inside this right arm and see just up above us. Good, and then on our next inhale, let's lift all the way back up, hands come up high, still turning toward that right leg, and then slowly we can fold forward. And then we'll slowly help ourselves back up to the top, come back to the center. And then another little forward fold here to the center. Use that breath. We'll be here for 2 full breaths. And then help ourselves back up. Good. We'll bend those knees and we'll walk the feet in front of us. Good. And now we get to roll back onto our backs. And rock forward and backward if we would like. Or we can go side to side. Gonna wiggle a little bit in those hips. We've been wide for a little bit. Good, and now bringing those knees and thighs together. We'll keep them bent, and we'll relax our shoulders and our arms, our head, down into our mats. Inhale, big inhale here, fill our bellies full of air, and then exhale, we'll just take those knees over to the left, to a side. Inhale, let's bring those knees back up to the center. And then exhale over to the other side. Just use that breath to relax into our mat. Surrender to gravity. One more inhale here. Exhale completely. And we'll bring our knees back into the center. We'll roll up into our little egg. And now on our next inhale, let's lift those feet up to the sky, reach our fingers nice and high. Roll around in those ankles and our wrists, little krakalasana here. Flex and point, wiggle the toes, open wide, move around a little bit. And then one more inhale, stretch up nice and tall. And then exhale slowly. Lower those feet. Lower the hands. This is our core workout as we would continue to lengthen and reach. All the way down to our mats. One big stretch here. And then exhale, release everything. Close our eyes and settle into our Shavasana. Use these next few breaths to relax and to permit ourselves to just be still, to be quiet, to let our mind wander. If you're ready, you don't have to be. We can begin to deepen our breath. Gently wiggle our fingers and our toes. Just slowly bring awareness back into our bodies. And we come back into our space. Gently wake up from our little nap. When it's time, we'll bring those knees into our chest. We'll roll over onto our side. And slowly help ourselves up to seated. Wherever we land is completely fine. However our hair looks is completely fine. We bring our hands together at our hearts. We bow to ourselves in gratitude for all of the gifts that we just gave ourselves. And remember, the best gifts that we could give ourselves are an open heart and an open mind. I wish you all a very, very happy day. I thank you so much for joining me, for allowing me to help you through your practice today. As we go through the rest of our day and our week, let's err on the side of kindness towards others and especially towards ourselves. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.